Yo, how about this song, guys? I hope it's not copyright, but this song is smashing right now. KI is back. Holy F. Great memories with Killer Instinct. All the way back to the arcades. I actually got a job in an arcade just to play this game after hours so I can get better. Amazing times. When I was in the military, in the Navy, Killer Instinct 2 came out. And I remember on a break, I don't know where I was. It was some kind of break. We went to a restaurant. And lo and behold, they had a small arcade, and Killer Instinct 2 was there. And I freaked the F out, like, holy F. Killer Instinct 2, and I'm in the military and Navy. And there's Killer Instinct 2. That was incredible. And then, of course, 10 years ago, Killer Instinct on Xbox came out. And that's the reason why a lot of people got Xboxes, was to play this game, because it's exclusive to Microsoft. I went to the mall because they had like this little truck, this mobile truck with TV screens in the back of the truck, and they had Killer Instinct to play for people. You can walk up and play it. And of course, Jago's available, and I was mashing on Jago combos for hours until they kicked me off. And then, of course, I got the home version and a lot of streams with Killer Instinct. And then, you know, a couple developers, right? The first developer was amazing. Iron Galaxy. I don't know who was it. Was it Iron Galaxy or Double Helix? Double Helix? They created the first Killer Instinct version. And then season 2 or something. Then they switched developers and they went to Iron Galaxy, I think, this one. And they changed some stuff and made things a little different. So now they're getting the green light to enhance all the graphics to 4K. I think another Unreal Engine, maybe? And some, you know, balance patches and some new secrets, and who knows what they're going to add. Hopefully this is like a Killer Instinct 2.5, right? Because they're not doing a direct sequel. This is just a revamp of Killer Instinct to make it more modern and more up to date. That's the teaser I got from Evo. That's when they announced this, was at Evo. So here we go. Should be starting, 5 minutes from now. Yeah, Mick Gordon, amazing dude. Hello everybody, thanks for watching, hanging out with me. Hope you enjoy Killer Instinct, the game. If you've played it, let me know. I still have it on my hard drive. I think I played it about a year ago. I still have my arcade T2 stick. You've seen it. Killer Instinct arcade stick from Mad Catz. Sitting right there on the floor, and I'll whip that out as soon as this game comes out. And we're going to be mashing some combos. Get that ultra combo. Who's in here? Saladin! Taking a break from Cancer League. These Johnny players. I hear you, man. As long as you don't get in the corner with Johnny, you have a shot. As soon as he hits you and he bounces you all the way to the corner, then he's going to lock you in, and it's just so shitty. All right, so we got to stay in the middle of the screen with Johnny, and you got a shot to take him out. What's up, Tony? You're going to make me run and buy a super box, S5. Tony, it's sitting right there. It's a beautiful box, man. That blue is really cool. It's a nice box, man. Fully up to date. Everything's working. Good customer support. It's fast. Psh. Hey, pays for itself, man. What's up, Alan? Smash the likes. Thanks, guys. Vietnam Army vet. Hey, thank you for your service, man. Wow, long time ago, huh? I joined boot camp at the tail end of Desert Storm, right after high school. In Illinois, Great Lakes. And then I went off to be a ceremonial guard in DC for 3 years. What year did you serve? So 95 to 98. Killer Instinct just needs fatalities. Right, Alan? Well, they have, like, what do they call those? Ultimates, right? And they were kind of watered down. They need to get the go-ahead for the gore. We need to see blood spurting out and do it right, right? I hope so. Look at Rom. Rom or Ram? I call him General Rom. This just sounds better. Wi-Fi is the worst. Saladin, we're going to get a Wi-Fi filter next. That's what Ed Boon says. Get that Wi-Fi filter in there, and that'll be a nice update. Smooth out the garbage. You should have seen my last stream. It was choppy mess, and I couldn't even do my combos. He did his combos, of course. I couldn't do my combos, and it sucked. I don't even know if I won. Did I win? I think I did. No, wait, I didn't win. Oh, it's the worst. So, yeah, Wi-Fi filter, X-nay on all the Wi-Fi players, and then hopefully after that, crossplay, so we can get on some PS5, Xbox battles. 2 minutes, guys, to get that stream going. Everybody hit that like button. Thanks for stopping by. Hope you're having a great Wednesday, day before Thanksgiving. I want to say happy Thanksgiving to you and yours for tomorrow. I got 2 Thanksgivings I'm going to tomorrow. My parents and my wife's parents. I don't know how I'm going to fit all that food in me. Holy moly. Should be a good day, though. Should be a good day. Yeah, Killer Instinct soundtrack is, oh my god, so best. It's just the best. I have the original Killer Instinct Killer Hits CD that they gave you way back when the first Super Nintendo came out. They gave you the CD with the games pre-order, something like that. I have that disc. Best music. And of course the redo is awesome too, the music. Hell yeah. Well, let's flip over, guys. I want to say hi to everybody. Vader, Dinjarin, and of course my sweet ass Govi panel lights behind me. Love it. All right, let's switch it up. So good. I watched Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles last night. The new one, the animated one. Holy crap, what a fun movie. If you guys haven't seen it yet, go check it out. It is a blast. Just a blast. Love the movie. Can't wait for the sequel because of a certain end credit sequence. Oh yeah. Give me that sequel. Fun movie, man. Check it out. New Turtles movie. Animated Turtles movie. Super cool animation. Very well drawn. Great action. Just fun. They changed up the lore a little bit with some of the characters. So I don't know how they're going to flip that in the sequel. But I loved it. Hell of a time. Turtles. I forget what's the name of it called. Secret Mutants? New Mutants? I don't know what it's called. But Turtles movie. Check it out. All right, here we go. Are they on time? Are they going to extend it? Yeah, here we go. Hey.
Welcome, everybody.
We're live.
I'm James Goddard, head of Killer Instinct over here at Xbox, and I'd like to introduce you to Adam Hart, our lead combat designer.
He's the guy that did all the balance changes.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming to the show. We've been hyping it all week. I'm really excited to finally get to show you guys all the balance changes we've been cooking up. And I want to remind you all that restreaming and reacting to today's stream is absolutely encouraged. And if you make one of those streams, please turn the face cam on. We love to see your emotions, and send us a link afterwards. And I'm sure a lot of people on the team will check those out.
All right, I'm streaming.
Today is the 10th
a little small webcam, but
of the release of Killer Instinct back in 2013 with the launch of Xbox One. We want to take a moment to thank
nice
all
shirt,
the developers
full
who made
gore.
the original version possible. Double Helix,
all the
people at Xbox, of course, Iron Galaxy, all the developers who spent time after that. There's been a ton of people in the background who's worked on the game in different departments, and also you guys.
Yeah.
All the streamers, all the influencers, all the players,
I played
all the tournament organizers. You guys are the reason why we're here.
I mean, this
I have
was a major
IP
milestone
Vanish.
for
Should
me
I
in a
use it with
lot
the
of
box?
ways in my life.
If you want to,
Remember
Tony, you
just
don't
that
need
first
to. I
time
haven't used the
we were at
VPN,
E3
so
demoing Dive Kick,
if you
and
feel
the
safer,
Double
it's
Helix guys
fine.
were there demoing
It might drop the
KI
bandwidth a
2013
little
for the
bit,
very
but be
first
careful.
time. And me and Maximilian got to go get a little bit of private time on the build, just me and him for an hour or so while we both had a break because we were both pretty busy. I swear that game changed both of us. Just everything about it.
What about Max?
The way it just felt like so, responsive and crisp in a way that a lot of the games coming out at the time didn't. The combo breaker system, instead of feeling like dumb or tacked on, felt like just this really revolutionary core part of the game that added a gambling aspect that was just way too addictive. Been chasing that high ever since, and obviously getting
What was that
a
double
year or so
breaker
later,
called?
a chance to actually work
Counter
on the game
breaker?
was, obviously a huge milestone in my life. So very, very excited to get to revisit this with you, James.
Yeah, me too. I mean,
He's got one of those fancy chairs. Those chairs right there are like $1,000.
I mean,
at least.
When I first heard rumors we might do KI inside
Right above me. This chair here is about $1,000.
And I just joined to work on Rise Son of Rome, and I was figuring, well,
oh, Rise Son of Rome. Where is the sequel to Rise? Are you kidding me?
And it was Rise Son of Rome, and then someone came by and said, "Do you know the people over at Double Helix?" I'm like, "Actually, I do.
Most of them
we work together.
Yeah,
way back on a whole bunch of stuff." And so, when they started working on it, it was just awesome. And over time, I just got to jam with them, and then this happened, and we got to work together. And I mean, geez, 10 years later, look at us. Look at the long road we've been on.
I know. It's
And
been such
there's
a
been
long one.
so many things that we've done that is wild, cutting edge, crazy, but that's why we're here.
Absolutely. So I think other than balance today, we are gonna get a small glimpse at some of the new UI updates.
Agree,
Is that
Alan.
true, James?
Agree.
Yes, we are.
Are we gonna show some footage? Here we go.
Let's take a look at this thing right here.
Gold.
Is this our new color scheme for this version of the game?
Yeah, every major season, or we always have changed the color theme, and with this one, we want to give a nod back to
KI Gold
64. It's
Oh,
not
yeah.
exactly verbatim, but it's definitely inspired by, and so this is
only on
part of what we're
Nintendo
doing.
Ultra 64.
Yeah, if you bring the camera back to me, I actually had this in my living room, my own cartridge for KI Gold, so you can
amazing.
see how
I remember
colors
that.
match up. Kind of.
I see that tape blemish on the top there.
So yeah,
There
Get
is a
that off.
purple and gold in there somewhere.
yeah, exactly.
Yes, I think it's a special
it's pretty
edition
awesome.
cartridge.
All right, so before we get started going any farther with this stream, I want to introduce today's very special guest. He was sitting right beside me and Isaac when we did the live Season 3 rebalance review of the KI Cup.
Max, get in there.
And he is one of the most insightful and strong people in the fighting game community.
You remember his first reaction to Killer Instinct on Xbox?
In a way that a lot of others
That's
aren't.
actually
So,
what got me hooked on
one of my favorite
Max,
people to talk to
was
about
that
fighting
first
games.
reaction.
So happy he was able to join us today.
He's like,
J-Jam,
What's up? Howdy.
now
gang?
this guy is not Max,
Hope everybody's
but
chilling.
Max
everything's
oozes
so
Killer
purple
Instinct,
and
so it
gold,
should be
it's
Max.
pretty, I gotta say.
I don't know who this guy
lucky
is.
enough to take a little look at it in the game, and boy, you guys did a great job. The new visual, aesthetic of the game is incredibly nice. It's super cool.
Visual
players will get to
aesthetic.
See that in just a little bit.
Ooh, yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
that's awesome. Hey, Sejam, can you tell us a little bit about your history with Killer Instinct?
Yeah, I mean, KI came out at the perfect time for me because I'm sure a lot of people have this. When they were younger and they were interested in fighting games, they thought they were so cool, and they're like, "Hey, parents, can underage me go fly to this video game tournament?" And they're like, "No, absolutely not." So then right when I got out of high school and I had some wiggle room to go do things myself, KI came out. So it was the perfect timing where I was interested in fighting games, and then Killer Instinct came out in 2013. When
Hey,
I
Flood,
started to travel
KI2
do
and
some
KI
more
Gold
stuff,
so much.
it was the perfect
Same,
time
man.
for me
Loved
to
it.
play the game, and I loved it. It's the first competitive game that I was interested in traveling around for and doing stuff with at the time, and it was just it struck the perfect time. And it's a game I'm always happy to come back and play. I feel like I always come back at least once or twice a year and do a KI session. And this update, it makes me really excited. It's there's so many cool things happening for fighting games right now. And so the idea of KI being a game on the docket in 2023/2024 that you're like, oh yeah, there's some new KI stuff. Let me go play some KI is a really strange but awesome feeling, I think.
Surprise!
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we wanted a KI
Yeah,
sequel.
And, this
but
stream,
next best
it's
thing, I
not going
guess.
to be quite the same amount of changes as that infamous and famous stream that we did back at KI Cup 2013. Do you want to say anything about that, Adam? Because that was a groundbreaker.
Yeah, I mean that's one of my core memories that forms me as a person at this point. Back then I had pitched to James the timing for the Season 3 rebalance being done and the timing of KI Cup that year are the stars are aligning. Can we go reveal this in front of a live studio audience and risk our lives? And James is just what would you say, James?
Well, I was maybe a bit more conservative back then. I was we're going to do what? I mean,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, that's crazy. No one does that. And that became our mantra. No one does that.
Yeah.
So we did. And you guys killed it. I mean, again, what was it 2.5 hours or more?
Yeah, we got about 2 hours worth of content today too.
Yeah, okay, it's darn close. It's darn close. But yeah, I mean, again, one of the things I definitely love about how that goes is we always have that interaction with the community, and we love talking about the changes and why we do the changes, and really, frankly, I don't think anybody does that better than your team. So I'm really excited to get into this. So actually, with that in mind, we have a lot to cover today. So yeah, we're gonna go through all the balance changes live.
4K.
Sejam has not seen any of this, so you'll
No.
get his live reactions, and he'll be able to ask questions as Adam goes through the demo. Well, he got to poke around the build. He hasn't been presented any of this information. So at the end, we'll have a couple more updates for you from our friends at 86, by the way, which I am wearing the freshly refreshed blue Glacius shirt. And there's something cool that's new coming from 86 at the end that we'll show you. And then we're going to do the full patch note. We'll upload the full patch notes online. So until then, you'll just have to follow along with Adam and SageM and see what's changing.
That's right. James, let me ask you a question. When's this update going to drop and what's it called?
Well, it is called Killer Instinct Anniversary Edition.
Okay.
So it will include everything you're going to see here today. All that is in final testing right now, and we'll announce a release date as soon as possible. So stay
Xbox,
tuned
PC,
to
Steam.
KI socials for that.
Free to play.
And then
Anniversary edition.
Really
29 fighters, premium.
Here. So
Double XP,
is something very cool.
holiday
We're very
accessories,
excited about this.
$30.
If you think about this,
KI Gold,
the
in-game
journey of
currency
KI,
for
we went
progression
from season 1
shortcuts.
to season 2 to season 3 to season 3.5. We had a la carte characters. We had different editions. We have like 8 different editions over the years. We have a definitive edition. And so, when we got the opportunity to move KI into all new technology on the Xbox side and all the new development kit, new services with PlayFab, we want to streamline things because this is all those a la carte offers are part of what makes things challenging. And when we get support reports of people missing content, so we're streamlining everything. And what you're seeing here is with the release of Anniversary Edition, we'll have the free-to-play KI base game that's always been there, and one edition which is KI Anniversary Edition. And so let's talk about the free-to-play game. That's been improved. All 29 characters on the roster are now rotating weekly instead of bi-weekly, and it used to only be 21 of them. So it's all of them. A couple more things we've done in there that are nice that we'll talk about later. And then Anniversary Edition will be the premium upgrade with all 29 fighters, all the premium content we ever did, including holiday accessories, which some of you may have missed. They'll just be
Orchid.
now.
I remember Orchid.
The VIP double XP booster.
Candy cane outfit.
And, anything else in there that I'm not covering right now. There'll also be KI Gold, of course, which will help you with your progression shortcuts. But that's just for in-game content like skins and accessories and colors that you unlock as you level your characters up. So everything premium is unlocked in this edition. So let's talk about what that means for some existing editions like Definitive. So
what the
Definitive Edition, and along with a lot of those other a la carte offers I mentioned, they're being retired after this. So it'll just be the base game and KI Anniversary Edition. So what that means, though, is there's M-rated content in the KI Definitive Edition that I think is important to talk about. That's just the KI Classics. The KI we know and love is a teen-rated game. KI Classics are M-rated, and so those are standalone apps. So when we retire this, KI Definitive Edition is being retired, and so are the classics for now. We'll figure out what to do with them later. And so anybody who already owns Killer Instinct Definitive Edition, don't worry, all of your content is still there. It's always in your library. You can go download your classics. You can download the Definitive Edition app. These are the only things that are being retired that are not going to be available anymore after this. If you ever own just one character, if you ever own like Season 2 Ultra Edition, all that's still in your library. Nothing's going away. So I just want to reassure everybody that this is just a streamlining and everything you had is still there. And I think that is it for that one.
Cool. So basically, if I bought any version of this game before, I'm just going to get that upgrade?
Yes.
Awesome.
Well, yes. Well, sorry. If you have Definitive Edition, right? You have Definitive Edition. And if and anything else you had is still in your library and you can still
got it. Cool.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about Steam really fast, and then we'll move on to the fun stuff of the balance.
Sweet.
So Steam is actually getting unified with the other two editions, and in the sense that it now has a free to play. Steam was purchase only before, so if you ever had friends who were like, "Well, I'm not sure," and they didn't have access to Xbox or the Win 10 version of KI, now they can just play the free to play version on Steam. We've introduced that, and it's the same exact deal. 2 editions, everything's streamlined. Owners of the current Steam edition, it's an automatic update to Anniversary Edition, just like Definitive Edition on Xbox and PC. So yeah, I think that is all the business that I needed to cover for editions. let's get to the balance.
All right. Thanks a ton, James. It's a lot of info. We'll definitely touch on it again at the end of the stream. Steve, you ready to do this thing?
Yeah. Let's take a looky. I'm so excited. I haven't seen anything, and
All right.
I'm roaring. I'm ready to go. It was a mutual understanding that I was like, hey, I don't want to know any, and you were like, you don't get to know anything, and I was like, all right. We shook hands on it, and I was like, cool. I get to see everything live with everybody else, so I'm really excited to see it.
Yeah, the only thing I told him was there's 10 characters that didn't get any changes, and that he could play
On
with those
Steam,
and
not
those only.
Xbox.
So,
Yeah, so we made sure that you and I could play online.
What's up,
in
Home Theater Man?
PC, and we played characters that had no changes.
Yeah, don't send that crap to me.
Fun. And then I closed the app.
All right, have
and
fun
I
at Pittsburgh.
I waited for today so that I could see all the changes. So yeah, I'm excited to see it.
yeah. So I'm just gonna navigate to the character select screen here.
Yeah, this looks very similar.
in practice mode, just so you can see this all new character select screen before I get into my spiel. The portraits have been completely redone. They look absolutely incredible.
Okay, let me see Jago. He's my
The
guy.
whole new color scheme is here as well. Lots of purple.
Why doesn't he pop it up?
The giant gas fart clouds are now gone. So yeah, look pretty amazing.
Yeah, and I don't know how much we're gonna cover about all the changes to everything, but it's very noticeable if you boot up on like a higher like resolution or higher refresh rate monitor, and you look at the game now versus before. It's very
How about an 8K
There's been
monitor?
a lot of UI upscaling and redoing just to make sure that it looks really clean and crisp if you play on, a high resolution monitor. Because this game is 10 years old. It was like a launch game on Xbox One. So
yeah.
all that work, pretty incredible. I think you guys are really going to appreciate it, especially if you're in the year of 2023 or 2024 playing Killer Instinct, which is very cool. So I'm going to jump back to the script here.
Where's
Okay,
Jago?
And for a lot of us, we didn't even have that stuff back then. Like 2013 was before everybody was focused on that stuff. So very cool.
All right, so before we get going, I want to let people know that this stream is going to have an after party on Sajam's channel. So he'll have access to the beta version of this build, and he'll be able to test stuff out in training mode with you and for you. Steve, if you need someone to beat up during your stream, I will stop by and donate my out of practice hands.
Why? This
Happy Thanksgiving, Alex.
I know what this is.
My
from.
Christmas
this is the most
tree.
random place to grab a picture too.
It's a
Okay.
basic
Yeah,
my
I'll
tree
be
with
there.
white lights.
We
Nothing
had
fancy.
originally a more mundane choice, but that's the right one to go with.
No, yeah,
The
that's
after
great.
party picture, yeah.
That's how I'm over there cooking. That's how I look when I'm
Exactly.
what's it called? When I'm testing stuff. So yeah, I'll be there. I'll take questions, and then yeah, we can do some gaming as well. But
I don't know his
I'm
channel,
not
so
gonna like
hopefully there's
sit
a
there
link.
and be like testing super extensively every little detail, but we'll go over. I want to do like broad strokes of a lot of characters.
Yeah, and the full patch notes will be out then as well, so you can reread them as you need to. All right, so let me take a little sip here. I have a long spiel to go through at the start.
Okay. Yeah.
Ma. All right, here we go.
Don't freak out, everybody.
Steve, feel free to interrupt me at any time during any part of this presentation with a question or comment. Let's have some fun, keep it conversational. And before I read the introduction to the patch notes, I just need to run to my basement laboratory to grab my lab coat, which I forgot. So I'll be right back.
Okay. He's gone. It's us, chat. I can tell you that the secret to the universe and life is in this build, and I've accessed it when he
Jago,
was
Shadow Jago, Saberwolf,
and I can now
Glacius,
reveal to you that secret.
Why?
Thunder,
All right. Got my lab coat on,
Sadira,
just like my mad scientist
Orchid,
Conra. Got my
Spinal,
wraps on my sleeves. Thanks to James
Fulgor,
Goddard for sending me this shirt
Cinder.
last week.
Gross.
I forgot her
like your
name.
hair
Sick.
changed. Like you hit hair and makeup like you did a stage performance.
Riptor,
All right. Okay. On with the show. If this thing gets
DJ
too hot, I'm gonna rip it
combo.
right off my body, just so you know. All right. Hello, killers. Long time no patch. Version 3.
Crap, I forgot a lot of these characters.
Launched on August 16th,
There's
of
Rom.
2018. And in the 5 years since then, a ton of you have continued to play Killer Instinct, develop new strategies.
I don't know
push
half
what is
these
possible
characters.
at
I
the top
forgot their
levels of
names.
play. We've been given the rare opportunity to do one more training pass after all this time, so we secretly recruited a few of KI's strongest and smartest players to get their feedback on what minor adjustments they'd want to see. Yeah, I'm gonna need a cough drop. This is gonna be a tough one. All right, here we go. The goal of this balance update is to reduce frustrations of some of the game's strongest characters and moves, while also giving a little love to the characters who tend to struggle even after 5 years of player effort. Not every character is getting changes, and the changes coming in will, in most cases, not affect your playstyle much. If your characters did not get any changes, keep in mind that some of your more difficult matchups may have gotten easier. We hope that these changes will breathe some new life into KI's competitive scene, and we look forward to watching you compete for as long as you're still having fun doing so. The team wants to genuinely thank the community for their passion and dedication to Killer Instinct. If you never stop playing, we hope you really enjoy the update. If you're coming back because of the changes, the community will welcome you with open arms and help you catch up because, despite being killers, they really are that nice. While we did receive a multitude of requests for changes and fixes, time is not infinite. The team prioritized the issues we felt would have the largest impact and tried to take our usual creative approach to them. Some changes, such as bug fixes, may have been passed on because they were too risky or too difficult to adjust in the limited time we had to work on the update. Your understanding is appreciated. We will try to include the reasoning used for each set of the changes below, as well as an indication of if each change is intended to be a buff or a nerf. You actually won't be able to see that today, but on the actual physical patch notes that we'll release later, you'll see the buff and nerf notations. Select community members weighed in heavily on these changes to give us the best possible chance at improving a game you already love, and we'd like to give them a special thanks for their time, dedication, and invaluable feedback. So, shout outs to Sonic Dolphin, Nikki, Wheels, Charbach, Latalis, Hello World, and Roman. The rest of you know who you are, and it's up to them if they want to reveal themselves. Thank you to all of you for making this as great as it could be. Again,
Hey, Chinito, what's up, man?
Will be available online shortly after this stream.
Happy Thanksgiving. Welcome to the KI stream.
Long ass intro. I got through it. Steve, any questions?
Did it? No, just before that, I wanted to touch on something you mentioned, where if your character didn't change, or even if your character got slight buffs or nerfs, you got to remember that this whole thing, like every character, there'll be a shuffle, right? If your character was like maybe on the weaker side and your two weakest, matchups got nerfed, then your character might be much stronger, right? So it's just important to remember that don't freak out, and if you do freak out, don't freak out at them. Freak out and keep
just go to training practice mode and figure out what they changed and
exactly.
Game on.
Some of all parts, the spiel I always give in front of all the balance things. Wait to hear it all, see how it all fits together. All right, so first up, we only have one small system change that I want to go over. I'm not going to show it here, but we fixed a game-wide bug that could sometimes cause projectiles to not get the first hit 2x damage bonus. So you could occasionally see things like Eagle's Bird or Rash's Bike do less damage than expected. Oh my god, Rash got a buff. Not really.
It's already beginning.
It's a game-wide issue. And that's fixed now. So you shouldn't see that happen anymore. It'll just make things feel more consistent, which is really good. Additionally, Rash. We found a bunch of attacks that deal less damage or less hit stun than expected when they counter hit. So we fixed those issues on a lot of characters. The full patch notes are going to call out which ones, but on today's stream, I'm just going to skip over those because it gets a little too nitty-gritty. Cool? Mm-hmm. All right, so to avoid leaving people in too much suspense, I want to talk quickly about the characters who did not get any balance changes. The characters I'm about to list did not receive any balance adjustments, though a few did get a minor bug fix or two. There's a few reasons for that. Firstly, the changes to other characters are going to impact their matchups, so you'll find that some of their hardest matchups have gotten easier. Secondly, we didn't want to make risky changes just for the sake of making changes, so we carefully considered community feedback when deciding which issues to tackle. Lastly, we believe that these characters are still very capable and strong even without any changes. From Saberwolf's powerful ground control to Hisako's mix-up potential to Mira's extreme damage, we feel they should work even better in this new version and remain fun and relevant for everyone. So, here's the list of the 10 characters. I'm just going to rip the band-aid off. These are the 10 characters who did not get any balance adjustments. Saberwolf, TJ Combo, Conra, Riptor, Hisako, Cinder, Shadow Jago, Arbiter, Mira, and Kilgore.
Yeah, my character got some changes.
So the winner of the guessing contest on Twitter was Dylan Deck with 6 correct guesses. Thanks to everyone who participated in that. That was a good bit of fun. And for the rest of the list, we're going to go through in release order. So we will start off with Mr. Jago.
Jago! My guy.
Whoops. There we go. I'm going to be doing player 1 with arcade stick and player 2 with a gamepad, and sometimes I'll have to do both at once.
They fixed his sword going through his rope. Hopefully they fixed that bug. It's the only bug I can see.
Want refill on the meters. I got my input display on, looking good.
Jago,
and we're off, everybody. We increased Jago's forward and backward walk speeds by 10%. This small improvement will help Jago maintain favorable screen position.
Good.
So he's a little bit faster now.
I like
Actually,
that.
It feels pretty nice, I would say.
Very good. Excellent.
That seems huge. Yeah, that is a really. I think walk speed is one of the biggest buffs a character can ever get. It's really
Yeah,
nice.
sometimes it really makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
We also drastically improved the hitbox and active time of Jago's jumping heavy punch. This guy right here. This move has like a pizza cutter quality to its animation, but the hitbox is very conservative on that compared to other similar looking jumping attacks. So these improvements are going to help it make it feel as good as it looks. So it hits a little earlier and up a little higher, and it also lasts a little longer and hits behind him for a little longer. So it's really easy to get those kind of juicy cross-ups with it.
Nice cross
It's a small change, but it's pretty nice.
Look at Glacius.
And then here's
This is
probably my
jacked.
favorite change of all of the changes in the entire change list. We did some adjustments to the Tiger's Fury special. So, Jack of all trades protagonist characters often find themselves in an undesirable spot late in a game's life cycle. Jago is a very complete character, but he does not stand out and isn't scary in the way that much of the rest of the cast is. So we wanted to figure out how to add some threat to Jago's toolkit and decided to lean into our mantra of high risk, high reward. So to do this, we've decided to center Jago's identity around the idea of high damage Tiger's Fury. So the light Tiger's Fury now does 26 damage, used to be 18. The medium now does 30, used to be 22. And the heavy now does 34, used to be 26. So this is a very significant amount of extra
Hey, a lot of
damage, but it
DPs
gets
going on
really
here.
wild when we turn on our counter hits.
Uh-oh.
Because these got an even bigger buff on counter hit. So the counter hit damage on, and they actually have a ton of extra hit stop as well. So the light one is now 32 on counter hit. Got that kind of juicy freeze to it. The medium's 40. And here's the scary one, heavy, 50 damage up front. So these hurt really bad. And if you jump and press the button and you get clipped out of the air by this guy, yeah, that's a lot of life to lose to an unbreakable single hit. But it's very risky. If they block this, you're going to get blown up. You're going to eat a 19% unbreakable opener in reply. And what we found in practice was that, the rest of Jago's fairly mundane toolkit, like his fireballs and faking those out and getting you to jump and
Ooh, a fake
doing
fireball.
some of his little
I
frame
know about
traps
that
that are, cute but not super scary. Suddenly they become a lot scarier when if you decide to press jab or something and he decides to just risk one of these, you take a ton of damage.
That does so much damage. I like my favorite thing is you're like we're very conservative with our changes, and you're like Jago murders you if you get hit by DP. That is really funny.
one.
Not all of them are the most conservative changes, but the goal was to compress the top characters down a little and the bottom characters up a little. You know how it goes. This was an interesting one with our test group as well, our NDA test group. And I'm sure they'll tell you after this is over, but I pitched this change to them and they were all horrified. And I was like, just let me put it in tomorrow and see how it feels. Let's just try it for a week, and if we hate it, we'll take it out. And they came around on it like almost instantly. They were like, yeah, this is actually super fun and cool, and it really works for the character and gives him some identity that he kind of needed. So, yeah.
I was gonna say I'm very scared of like counter hit DP instinct. That sounds like a bad time.
Yeah, his
But
ender.
you need first hit for all that big damage, so it's not too bad.
His ender is gonna be awesome.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, that seems really good for Jago. His walk speed, I think, is like so nice too. I think the matches where he has to walk you down, where he, his screen control is just not good, and doing wind kick from full screen, you just die. Like those kinds of matchups, I think the walk speed will really help.
Exactly. So the last change for Jago is we made the first active frame of the shadow wind kick reach a little lower. And we also made the push box taller for the first 4 frames. This is a little nitty gritty, but there were some cases where he could shadow counter someone who was low profiling, and he would just sail
Shadow counter.
And this prevents most of those cases. There are still some cases where a character is side switching with him and he'll still miss, but this stops some of the cases where the person was like low profiling. So, are we having a frame rate problem? Yeah, sure. Let me kill my feed real quick.
Kill it.
I'm glad they caught that because it was looking a little choppy.
Yeah. It has been running for a while.
Yeah, it also looked good for me, so I'm not sure.
Try the 720. Let's see how it looks.
720 for his webcam.
Right, let me know. We good, Derek? Are we good? Am I back? Okay. Yeah, I think it booted me for a second. Looking good? Looking clean again?
Okay. That looks smooth now.
I'm missing like everybody on the stream here. Okay, I don't have.
Yeah, they
BGM
brought the
or
stream to
games open.
720, man. It's looking even worse.
There they are. They're
Oh,
coming
wow.
back. All right, I must have had an internet hiccup or something. Hopefully that doesn't
Yeah.
happen again. Okay, cool. Well, we're good, yeah?
Definitely
I love
softer
that
looking
the
now.
game freezes for like a full second when you do the DP. The hit stop is unreal.
Yeah, it's pretty juicy. I'm a big fan. You can feel it in your chest when that hits you. Okay, cool. That is it for Mr. Jago.
All right.
Moving on.
Okay. I like those changes. The walk speed, especially. I'm a walk speed enthusiast. That's like the best buff I could get. You know,
Yeah.
so I'm all about it.
All right, so now I'm using my gamepad to play Glacius. We got some changes for Glacius here. We reduced the frame advantage after a successful combo breaker to 0. It used to be +4. He used to have the most advantage
Right, Alan?
off of a combo breaker
Come
in
on,
the
man.
game. And it also
He
left
must
you at
have
a distance
a-
where he could kind of just do
a low
this, and
internet
because he was
speed at his
+4,
house.
that was tough to deal with. So this change should make that situation feel a lot more manageable after a combo breaker from Glacius.
Yo,
I guess I'll
Keenan
try to demo that.
45. Yo,
And we'll hold up on both. Look at that.
what happened?
They're about even. Pretty good. All right. We also reduced the pushback on block from the light, medium, and heavy cold shoulder attacks, so their frame data actually matters. These are -3, -5, and -8 on block, which remains unchanged. But previously, Glacius could be so far out of range that most characters couldn't punish him, even if he was very negative. So let's see what that looks like. That's the heavy. That's the light. That's the medium. He's very in there, so you can actually get punishes on this guy now. That's a huge change for Glacius. They're gonna have to be a lot more thoughtful with this move. Cover it with hail a lot more often to make sure that they have some insurance behind them. But there is kind of a bonus to
Or maybe
this,
it's his
where if he makes
PC
you
that's
block
not
this
as
and then you go Shadow Hail, you can actually get a true
strong.
block string with it, which wasn't true before. If they're standing. If they're crouching, I think they can still wiggle out. But yeah. Kind of a big deal for
Well,
Glacius
stuttering
not being able
again.
to just throw that out quite as often. And then last up for Glacius, we added 4 frames of recovery time on whiff and block to the Instinct Teleport Puddle Punch. It's now -16 on block.
Why don't you have
used
this
to
on
-12.
Xbox? Just play it
All
on
combos
Xbox.
on hit are the same. The manual cancel window hasn't changed, so it feels exactly like it used to. The difference
my
is if
God,
somebody
Adam.
jumps it or
happening?
blocks it, they're gonna have a bit more time to hit him and maybe deal with the armor. Some characters like Arbiter could block that from a range where they couldn't really hit a Fierce or
Armor.
anything like that to even deal with the armor. So that helps as well in that matchup. And yeah, that's it for Glacius.
Okay. Yeah, that seems about right. The whiff on Puddle Punch, yeah, I mean, it was very often that you would just like jump and then not be there, and then he would just be like, I don't care, and then just smoke you with armor.
It's
So you're
fast.
like, well,
Yep.
Can't call him
Next
Chief
up, we're gonna
anymore.
put Thunder and
Chief
Sadira on the
Thunder.
screen.
Oh, it's just Thunder.
All right. So for Thunder,
Sadira.
it's kind of a big one. We limited the time window. in
Isn't
which
that great? We can
follow-up has
see
to be
females'
chosen.
legs
There are all
not covered
versions
up
of
by
Samus.
pants.
So visually, once Thunder's feet start
Speaking
to
of you,
drop below
MK1.
Jago's head, Sadira works for this. She's about the same height as him. Follow-ups will no longer be possible. So you used to be able to do these up to 1 frame before you touch the floor. So check out my input display over on the left. You can see when I'm pressing the buttons, right? If I do the Samamish and I fall below her head and I hit that button, nothing happens. I have to do it much earlier than that. Right? But if you hit it above the head, you can still get out whatever follow-ups you want to get out. So you have to commit to these a bit earlier than you did before. And that kind of gets rid of some of the most frustrating nonsense that Thunder was kind of doing to people, which is just kind of throwing this out, abusing the high priority and projectile invulnerability, and then hitting a follow-up so low to the ground. that
Sadira's
it's so
tough
hard
to
deal
fight
with
against. I
with his
remember her.
choices, no matter what
All
they
her
were.
spider webs.
Huge change
Traps
for
you in the
Thunder.
web.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
We also added 5 additional frames of recovery time to landing after Samamish, Surprise Knee, or Dropkick. So that doesn't apply to Skyfall, but if you just land from a Samamish, or you land from Dropkick or Surprise Knee, you use 5 more frames of recovery before you can block or jump right there as well. So players are going to be able to probably, in most cases, react to which choice he makes because of when he has to make it, and be able to punish him if he's making really bad guesses with this move. So again, huge change for Thunder. This would be a huge nerf overall for him if we didn't add a couple buffs back in, which we wanted to do because, again, the goal of this change was to just reduce one of those frustrating aspects, not to necessarily nerf the character. And you'll see a couple of those in the change list as well. So what we did was we increased his forward and backward walk speeds by 20% to compensate for this stuff and help him play a more strong, grounded game with his strong set of normals and specials. So this dude is moving pretty fast now. It's a huge, huge increase for him. and he has some incredible buttons to press. All kinds of great ranges on these. This is really going to help him play the footsies game, play the ground game, keep control of the match. And then the last thing we did for him to compensate was we shortened the recovery time on Call of Sky, where you give the Crow's buff to yourself by 5 frames. So Lightning still hits on the same frame, but it has 5 frames less recovery, so you can get that buff on yourself a little bit more easily in matches where an opponent can quickly throw themselves across the screen and punish you. Helps a lot. That's it for Thunder.
Man, those are great changes. I was gonna say too, the one thing about the walk speed is like walking up and doing DP to like beat stuff. Sam and Mish is probably much easier too, right? Because you're already walking forward, so gives you that extra little range to like walk in and then get like the tip reach of it where it's hard to walk away from it. So
yep,
that might also help a bit too.
Especially if people are poking with mids and like from this range, right?
Yeah. No, that's great. I mean, I think everybody knows that when Thunder just is doing Sam and Mish over and over in neutral, like it sucks, right? You're just like, dude,
choppy
this
chop,
sucks.
choppy
like,
chop.
I'm just getting help. Like, so
exactly.
I'm happy that the game plan is moving slightly away
choppy,
from that.
choppy.
Stuff about him that's more fun to deal with.
Like I said, the goal of the changes a lot is to kind of take some of those frustrators and sand them.
That's why
down
you shouldn't game
make the
and
characters a
stream
little bit more fun to fight
if your
against,
PC
but
isn't
still
like
keep
top
them-
notch.
Keep them strong.
You should have a separate streaming
All right.
PC
Let's talk about
to your
Sadira.
gaming PC.
We fixed a bug that allowed her to cancel her to call her web instinct projectiles during a combo breaker. So she could do a combo breaker, call the web projectiles, and she could actually get pressure off a combo breaker, which just isn't in the spirit of the game. So we just got rid of that ability. Small thing. But we did want to give her a buff. We increased Sadira's forward and backward walk speeds by 20%. Now, as you know, percents are a larger number on a character that was already kind of fast, so she is really cruising. She's among the fastest ground characters in the game now. Really,
Ooh, she walks fast. Look at her.
She's really fast, but she had like this problem before where her jumping is actually really fast as well, and it was much faster than her walking. So you would see this. And what we made this change basically so that when Sadira players don't want to jump around like an unhinged maniac, they can actually use her great grounded buttons and, you know, keep control of the game, get in position for those really nice anti-airs. This one especially, right? This leads to a lot of party. I think it really just helps the character a lot if the Sadira player can stop holding up. So we'll see how well that goes for the Sadira community.
Yeah, you're like not gonna. Sadira players are gonna be like, dude, we got no buffs. They're gonna be playing for like 3 weeks and be like, did this character get a single change?
Yeah, there are some players who do play a more grounded Sadira, and I think those players are gonna make the character look really scary.
Yeah,
but she's already pretty good.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep it moving.
Orchid.
Let's check out Orchid.
Hello, baby.
And let's check out Spinal.
I'm very interested.
All right, so for Orchid, let me turn Spinal on human real quick. She's got quite a few changes actually, so this will take a minute. But we fixed a bug that allowed her to cancel her ground combo breaker into Shadow Uppercut. I can't.
Great outfit. It's just so nice to see female skin in fighting games.
Wild. She could combo
of course,
break
this is a 10-year-old game, so
Shadow Uppercut.
back then a little bit more loose in the rules for
game.
females.
That was one of the changes I was most scared to physically do.
Pants.
I was like, okay, this is either
jackets,
be like a week's worth of the most complicated, risky work I've ever done.
5% skin showing.
One line of code, and it's gonna be fine. It was the second one. I deleted one line of code, and this was fixed. So, yay!
Nice.
Got lucky.
Yeah, I know. Everybody wanted this fixed. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm glad that that's gone. We also fixed the same bug that Sadira had, where she could call her Jaguars during a combo breaker and get pressure off of combo breakers. Again, not really in the spirit of the game, so we wiped that away. But on to the Orchid improvements, because this is a character that really hasn't put up a lot of results in the last 5 years. And she's really cool, so we wanted to give her some stuff and see how it goes. First up, we get some instinct mode improvements.
Very nice to
Jaguars
look at.
now deal an additional 15 frames of hit stun to grounded opponents. So let's see how that looks like. Much longer hit stun.
Jeez, too many sparks.
That linked.
PC's gonna
that slow.
fry.
So that really helps her kind of put together a combo. Which
Love
is
the
great.
sparks in this game. You don't
The
see this
Jaguars
sparks in
now
other
launch
fighting
airborne
games.
opponents into a better position for a juggle, which is really nice. And they have a longer hitbox. So it used to be they only had kind of a hitbox on the front legs, and now it's all the way to the Jaguar's butt. So if you jump over them and land on the butt area, you'll actually get hit, which makes them a little bit more threatening and all that stuff. So her instinct functions pretty similarly to like Rash's and Sadira's, but it was just like a lot harder for her to get the same kinds of rewards off of this as them. So I think this change really helps her with a little bit of lab time, find some really interesting things, like especially if you build in the grenade to some of these setups to get some really interesting combos and resets going. Pretty cool change. Next up, we got some adjustments to the knee slide. The light knee slide is now -2 on block. Used to be 5. That's this one. It used to be -5. Now it's -2. The medium
I barely
slide
saw it. It was like a
now
half
travels
frame.
farther and faster.
Oh, nice.
It was about as far as the heavy one used to. And it now has 7 additional frames of recovery time and 5 additional frames to start up before it starts moving because it moves so quickly. It's -8 on block now, used to be -7. And here's where we get a little wild. This is not a conservative change. The heavy slide now travels much farther and faster.
Oh,
Nice.
Yeah. It has 10 additional frames to start up
That's
before
good.
it starts
The Sub-Zero
moving. So you can
slide.
see she kind of holds for a second before she starts sliding.
Perfect.
It doesn't even combo off some of these buttons anymore. I still have counter hits on, and that still didn't combo. So it's much slower, you can tell. It has 22 additional frames of recovery on whiff, so that if people jump it, they can actually hit her. And it's -13 on block. It used to be -10. So the reasoning for this, a lot of characters on the roster have similar low-hitting, sliding, kick special moves. And upon review, it was pretty clear that Orchid's was the worst of the bunch by a lot. These improvements should help in a lot of various aspects of Orchid's game plan. In fact, our first pass at updating these helped so much that we had to go back and give them slower startup and more recovery on whiff and block that I just demoed to make sure that they didn't run away with the game, because the first version of this was wild. And I'm sure some of the NDA test group will tell you that, yeah, it was wild.
Yeah, I mean, I totally believe it. These are nice, though. I think it's a good assessment that, like, she had a lot of similar moves to other characters, but they just didn't feel as good. Or
Yeah, it's just like the worst
the
version of slide, right?
Yeah, yeah. And, like, her instinct, too. There's a lot of, as you mentioned, there's other instincts that kind of serve the same purpose, so it's good to see a pass on it.
Yeah, and she's a cool character, so we'd love to see more of her, right? One other change we gave her, this is a really nice one. We adjusted the startup of the Shadow Knee slide, that's this guy right here, so that it's immune to projectiles on frame 0. It used to be frame 2. So she was one of the only characters in the game who, if she had a meaty projectile on her, she actually couldn't use her projectile invincible move to get through it. So that's now fixed, which is very nice. And we fixed a couple counter hit issues on her. Like I said, we're not going to go over those fully on this stream, but that is it for Orchid. Not too bad. All right.
Yeah, those are great.
So Spinal, very short list for Spinal. We increased his forward walk speed by 20%. Look at him go. He's coming to get you.
Yeah.
And then
He's
his
about
back walk speed's
25%.
increased by 10%. And these are going to help Spinal find a better spacing and more matchups to land those crucial anti-airs and pokes to get his game started. Because he has a pretty good set of moves. It's just, he was so slow, it was really hard for him to get into position. And when you feel this forward walk, you're going to be like, oh wow, that, I mean, you can see he's kind of stomping at you, right? It's
Yeah.
a pretty big difference. And that's it for Spinal.
Nice. That seems about right. Yeah. That's cool, though. I mean, I think he's not a character that walks a ton, but when he does walk, having that extra little bit of juice is pretty nice.
It is very nice.
You know, all his old creaky bones.
Yeah. We are moving on to Fulgore, the most changed character in the history of this game by a lot, probably, right?
Yeah.
And
Remember
today will
old
be
heavy
no
laser?
exception. All right. So Fulgore is a tricky beast. He's got this special custom
Fulgore.
meter that he relies on. He can do everything. You know, he's been proven to be a pretty ridiculous character time and time again, no matter how we seem to adjust him. So here's another attempt at that, and let's see how it goes. So Blade Dash, this move right here, this guy. We made some adjustments to that. We've adjusted the block stun on all the normal uncharged versions of the Blade Dash to make them more negative. They used to be -2, -3, and -4. Now they're -4, -6, and -8 for light, medium, and heavy. So that's a pretty big change.
Whoa.
I need to put Maya on playable real quick. There we go. So block with her, and then
Maya's thick.
two-hand this, do one of these, and then you can actually get punished. Look at that.
Damn,
That's
she's
neat.
huge. She's tall as Fulgore.
All right. So
What?
moving on. This is kind of a burf.
I didn't know
This
she was
is a
that
nerf
big.
and a buff. So bear with me until I get through this whole
Wow.
section on this move, because there's a lot going on.
Amazonian women.
Fulgore can now pip cancel the Blade Dash on whiff or block into any of the following special moves: Energy Bolt, Eye Laser, Plasma Port, Plasma Slice. Previously, he could only do Plasma Slice and only on whiff. So even if you blocked this, you wouldn't be able to do Plasma
Jeez,
Slice
those
or anything
blades are
like that.
crazy on Fulgore.
So Blade Dash is a powerful tool that lets Fulgore close in without much risk. To adjust this, what we really wanted to try, and what our test group really was interested in, was making it more negative on block and forcing Fulgore to use his pips to do cancels to cover himself, which I love the idea of. But when we started investigating it, we were like, oh, he's only allowed to do this and only on whiff. So we have to open up these options to make this plan work. So that's what we did. We opened up these options. The result of this has weakened one of Fulgore's best options in neutral, but it's increased the strength of his instinct mode. So we've opted to pull back on Fulgore in various other ways to compensate and ensure he ends up a bit weaker overall. I think you'll want to test this one in the lab on your stream a little bit later, but what you'll find, and this is very hard for me to do with 2 controllers with 1 dude, but if he's doing this and he's canceling into things, there is a gap, right? And you're going to be able to press your 5-frame button in there in almost every case, except for if he risks an uppercut. So he's got to kind of convince you to calm down in most cases, or he has to charge up a blade dash first so that he can get a better frame advantage before he does the cancel. It's not quite as scary as it sounds, but it does take a little bit of bravery, I guess, to know that you should be pressing a button after you block that most of the time now. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Also, this move
Down 1.
This move's pretty wild for a character who has movement and fireballs and everything like he had before. I mean, yeah, him just flying around the screen with that move whenever he wanted and just buffering like a linker or auto double for free and then just escaping after was really strong.
So the next change, I think the rest of these are nerfs. Heavy Eye Laser now deals 20 kV instead of 10, and that's because our changes gave him a new looping combo, which is, cancel this into that, and then cancel that into that. Oops, cancel that. Into that. So it's like that. And you can just keep hitting lasers, right? You can get 5 of those before the combo breaks. Used to be, before we made that change, 10, which was it's a lot to spend for not a lot of damage, but an instinct, it was a little scary because of how his instinct works. So we had to make that change. We also made some adjustments to his instinct mode because it became more powerful.
Yeah, this is choppy as hell, man.
So to combat this, we made
I'm watching that reactor spin on the bottom left.
Bit of its remaining time every time he uses a free pip cancel. So he's going to lose 5 points for each free cancel, with the exception of energy bolts 2 and 3, which only cost 2 points. So for context, the instinct meter is 250 points long. You lose 16.6 points per second, resulting in a 15-second duration. So watch Fulgore's instinct meter here. I'm going to throw the multiple fireballs. And you can see little chunks of the instinct time being taken away. And I can do some of these other cancels, and you can see more chunks of the instinct time are getting taken away every time he does that. So if the Fulgore player goes absolutely wild in this mode, kind of similar to Tusk's Berserker cancels, you can probably expect like an 11 or 12-second instinct mode instead of a 15-second one, which makes a massive difference.
Hey, Adam.
Yes.
Let's give you a quick update from the chat. It's not a question. I just want to talk about the journey that you've taken them on. I've watched chat go from no, yes. Some people found Jesus. Oh God.
Yeah. It's a sum of all parts, right? You got to wait till you hear it all.
I think you've taken them on the journey to happiness. Some people are going to be very happy. I think some people are still a little distressed. I see a what did they do here and there. Anyway, very good update. This Fulgore one did not disappoint.
Yeah, you guys will definitely have to see how you feel once you play it. Snap judgments are not your friend. Play it for a week, go into the lab, see how you feel after that. It'll all gel together, or it won't, and you'll tell us, and then maybe we'll adjust it again. Who knows? Let's keep going. We got more nerfs for Fulgore. Who wants more nerfs for Fulgore? I do. All right, so we made some adjustments to the light and medium eye lasers. Both the light and medium eye lasers have had their hit stop and block stop time increased from 6 frames to 15 frames. This results in a much more legible and reactable freeze frame when blocking each hit. See how much chunkier that is? It used to be like pew pew, and now it's pew pew. Medium eye laser remains -3 on block, but light eye laser is now -6 on block, which means it is punishable by jabs and stuff like that if you don't space it right. There you go, punishable. So the previous versions of these were powerful pressure tools that hit low, and as a bonus, were very hard to shadow counter due to their short hit stop and Fulgore's ability to mix between 1 or 2 hits. So we've made these changes to give these moves a bit more identity and help opponents fight against them. So now Fulgore players are choosing between a single hit low that's punishable when blocked, or a 2-hit low that's safe on block, but can be more easily shadow countered on reaction. So let's see if I can, yeah, pretty easy to shadow counter that on reaction now. Definitely a big change for Fulgore players. They're going to have to rethink the use of that move a little bit to make sure that they can't just get in your face and let it rip over and over again. So
what's up, Sammy? What's up, Moo?
the drill and then shoot
going on,
lasers
guys?
at your feet, and you just being
Just
overwhelmed.
watching this Killer Instinct
That's not gonna be
stream,
nearly
seeing
as
all the
overwhelming
balance
as you might
change.
have thought once you get this into practice.
Nice.
But that's not all. We also added
Hope
6
you're having a great
additional
day.
frames
Thanks
of
for watching.
recovery time to the plasma
They're just
port
going through all the
teleport
characters'
before
balance
Fulgore is
changes
allowed
here.
to take another action. So that may not sound like a lot, but in practice, it actually makes punishing teleports in neutral like much more reasonable. Reduces the speed of some of his nastiest mix-ups. Some of his mix-ups where he got 2 teleports, he should only get 1 now. You know, if you see that animation, you can do like even a medium button, and it's more likely to come out the correct direction as well. Because a lot of times, because of the timing of the old version, you would try to press the button to punish. You would swing the wrong way, and he would appear behind you, right? And your button's much more likely to come out the correct way right now.
150
That
practice
doesn't
mode
mean
minutes.
he still won't be a menace with these. You know, he's still gonna throw fireballs and kind of mix in the teleports to cover them and do all kinds of nasty stuff. But definitely, again, a lot more
They did.
thoughtful version than
What did they give
used to
him?
Yeah,
Just
that is huge. 6
faster
frames of
walk
time is
speed.
huge for sure. That's a big one.
Yeah. We also noticed that
One
Fulgore's
thing I
hit
remember,
stun,
not
block stun,
too
and counter
much.
hit stun values on his
they went over
energy bolt
Glacius.
projectiles.
He was
that's
right
these
after
guys
Jago.
right here,
The first 2 that were
were
talked
very inconsistent. So we did a pass to normalize them, but weaken them a bit overall. Like the light ones had more hit stun than the heavy ones, but the medium ones had like the least. It just didn't make sense. So we just went through and gave them a single set of values. You'll see those values in the full patch notes, but they're a little bit worse than they were. All the combos that he used to have involving them still work as far as I've been able to tell. I think Nikki helped me figure that out as well. So I'm confident that that's a good change. We also added 4 additional frames of hit stop and block stop to the first hit of double claw to make that a little bit easier to shadow counter as well. It's one of the harder command normals to shadow counter. I don't know if you can feel those 4 frames over the stream,
Boom,
but
boom, boom.
it's a small change,
Shadow
but an effective
counter.
one, I think. We also fixed a bug that was exclusive to Fulgore and Kilgore, where his shadow counter had 7 less frames of catch time, so like 7 less frames of parry time, and 10 less frames of recovery time. So we normalized those. Yeah, and there was a counter hit issue we fixed as well. But I fully expect Fulgore to still be, you know, like a top 5 character after all this. You're just gonna have to play a bit more thoughtfully, and he's honestly a very good character at doing that. He has pretty good buttons and a good set of neutral tools. It's just the kind of more hog wild style of Fulgore is probably a little less something you'll want to consider.
Yeah, a little less barbaric. But yeah, I mean his tool set is so good that it's like he has everything you'd want and more in a character, you know? Like I think that's what draws people to him. He's so fun because of that. So I think the new cancels will help make up some ground there. Like people will be excited to mess with that.
Yeah, people will still lose to Nikki and be in shambles. So we'll see how it goes. All right, so next up, there's one little change we did for TJ Combo, a bug fix I just wanted to mention. He used to not be able to cancel a kick manual into Shadow Vortex, like an oddly specific thing. We found a weird line of code in there that nobody knows where it came from that strictly prevented that for some reason. So we removed it, and that was fixed. So just a small change for TJ folks. Little combo you weren't able to do before, you can now do. But let's move on to Maya. One change for Maya. You know I'm a Dagger Assault fan, Steve. The Dagger Assault no longer ends if Maya gets hit, but it will still end if she gets knocked down. So let's take a look. We need to build up some pips. And then we will go ahead and land the Dagger Assault. And then we punch her, and it's still hitting me. Oh no, this is horrible. But if I knock her
this
down,
says
it will end immediately.
new
So if
updated
you throw
engine.
her, knock her down,
They're
it'll end
saying.
immediately. Dagger Assault's a lot of fun. We had to design it very conservatively to avoid being a total nightmare for opponents. This change
It'll
is gonna
definitely
make
look
it a bit
better than the
easier to
last time
use
we
without
saw it.
tipping the scales too much. And I think one of the
Glacius
most
and
important
Thunder?
things to remember here
Never
is
played this
that
much
she
time.
has no
Oh, man.
high-low mix-up except
Combos,
for
man.
this overhead. And this overhead actually puts her in the air. So if you hit her out
Maybe
of
I'll
this,
play it again.
she
It
falls
comes
down
out.
even with a jab. So if she wants to do any type of
With the
mix-up to you
refresh.
other than a strike throw while you're blocking these, she's either going to have to jump and do like an empty low or something, or she's going to have to do one of these and put herself in a position where she can get jabbed out, which means she falls, and then the daggers fall out as well. I don't know how big a change this is in practice. I think it's fairly minor in most matchups. It'll really depend on what kind of really tight setups Maya players are able to develop for this. But it does add a lot of fun to the move and remove some of the risk of it. I think it was one of the riskier things to do with Maya if you didn't have instinct to immediately call those daggers back. So I do expect to see Maya players get a little bit more mileage out of this, which is great. It's what we want. All right, moving on. I have an omen change that I'm not going to demonstrate. I'm just going to read it.
Omen.
Right.
We reduced Omen's meter gain on all of his enders except his meter type ender, which is the RAFCAVE. So he remains the king of meter gain, but it ended up feeling a bit too snowbally to let Omen build so much meter off of his most damaging ender types. This change should force Omen players who need meter to actually use the meter ender, which should in turn lower his overall damage and threat output.
Nice. Yeah, he kind of, I mean, that's the nice thing about having 17 enders that are all battery enders, huh? It's like, all right, cool.
Just do whichever one you want. You're going to have plenty of meter, right?
Yeah.
He still builds good meter on those enders. It's just way less than before.
Yeah. Yeah, Omen was wild, so.
Yeah.
Oh, man, this big dude.
Right, it's time to look at Aghanos.
Jeez.
We reduced the amount of hit stun inflicted by medium and shadow versions of Natural Disaster to prevent them from comboing directly into Shadow Payload Assault. So let's take a look. I'll do the medium one, and then I'll go into Shadow Payload Assault, and I can, well, that didn't combo, but I can't block because I forgot to put it on human controls. There we go. Let's try that again. Take two. Here we go. She got hit, but she's able to block, right? That's not a true thing anymore. And it's the same with the shadow version. Whoops. That used to be a true combo. That's no longer a true combo as well.
Dude, he's able to shadow combo.
This is going to make confirming into Aghanos' most damaging unbreakable combos way less common and require him to give you at least one breakable window in most of those cases before going into them. So I'll have to do those moves, then manual into like a heavy, and then do it, which is a pretty big deal. You will still be able to combo directly into Shadow Payload Assault if.
Oh yeah, it'll look great on Series X. I have it on Series X.
I can actually do that here.
It'll look nice and crispy.
Okay. Yeah, that makes
because
sense.
that recapture animation is so long, you'll still be able.
That's
to get it
60
in that
frames,
case,
not
but
this
in all
choppy
other
stuff that
cases,
we're
you
seeing
won't be
here.
able to get it.
Nice. Okay.
All right, we reduced the wall crash damage on Aghanos to 48. It used to be 60. Now these values are going to look wild because Arya doesn't heal potential damage. She has way less health than other characters. But you have to trust me, this does less damage, a lot less damage, like 25% less than before. We also reduced the damage per hit from Heavy Payload Assault, that's this guy right here, to 2 per hit. Used to be 8. And that sounds more drastic than it is, but that's because of how many hits it does and the way scaling works in the game. So it still adds a significant amount of damage to Unbreakable Wall Crash setups, just a bit less than before. So let's see if I can do one of these combos here. Something like that.
Did you improve his walk speed?
Stomp walk, right? The damage values are going to look nuts on Arya, but
Yeah. She has 1 million potential damage ready.
yeah. I couldn't fit the jump back there. I'm not going
Put
to
the
demo
rocks
this too
in.
many times because I haven't played in a while. Yeah, I missed the follow-up, but it does a lot less. I'm going to stop doing that demo now.
Yeah, I think hitting the unbreakable or harder breakable stuff makes a lot of sense. That's like kind of the most frustrating thing to deal with now.
Yeah. Speaking of frustrating things, this move. We added 7 frames of stop time when you block this. The projectile part specifically, to make it a little bit more clear when it's your turn to press a button. And actually, I think Arya is one of the characters who can punish this from lots of ranges. Whoops. I'm trying to do the two-hand version of this. Oh, I can't get it. Oh, well. But yeah, there's a bit more time there, so it's more clear when it's your turn, which is very nice. This is a really big one for Aghanos as well. We reduced the block stun time on a few of his jumping attacks so that if they hit on the way up, they're more negative and sometimes punishable. So jumping hard punch, if you hit this on the way up, like that, you actually may get hit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
And it's the same with jumping hard kick. If you hit this on the way up, spacing was bad there. You might get punished or hit on that as well. So you're gonna have to hit those buttons a little later if you want to get that same advantage you used to have. Press it more, at the peak, which is a pretty big change because Aghanos is very hard to anti-air because he can put those buttons out on the way up in a lot of cases. And in this case, if you do that, you're going to be in trouble. We also adjusted the amount of pushback opponents receive when blocking Peacemaker-related attacks, so you won't be sliding full screen anymore. Let's take a look at that as well. So you can see this used to just like really send people sliding, and now they don't slide so much anymore. It's a big change, especially the projectile one used to really fling people back.
Wow.
That's
so different.
Big change. And that is it for Aganos. He can be really frustrating to fight against, and we always intended for him to be a bit weaker and only shine in the hands of specialist players. Over time, these specialist players have taken Aganos so far that there's a solid argument for Aganos being one of the top 5 strongest characters in the game. With many of the game's other strongest characters getting a little weaker, we didn't want to end up in a situation where Aganos was the undisputed best, so hopefully these changes make fighting against him feel a little bit more fun and reasonable.
Yeah.
Yes.
Have a quick prediction from Flash, one
Sure.
of our Saberwolf players. Saberwolf is going to destroy Aganos.
We'll see. We'll have to see how it goes. I did
Yes,
see.
I'm excited about that because when you showed me these changes, I was very happy because I get just mangled by the beat stick in particular by Aganos. So I'm really
Yeah,
happy.
it'd be really hard to get in.
Yeah, but I think your prediction on the long tail on this is, I think we'll see that. Those specialists, I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Flash may be in trouble when some of these guys show up with these specialized Aganoses.
Yeah, I don't know if he's still going to be top 5 or not. It's hard for me to say. I'm not even sure I agree he was top 5 before, but some people thought so, and that's interesting.
I was going to say Latalis seems very, very hype about his potential still in the chat. Like, yeah, it's still going to be very strong.
Looks like the stream's chopping out again. Should I reset it?
It's been chopping up from the beginning.
Okay. Let me just refresh it real quick. Can't hurt.
It's purple and gold. Yeah, Aganos is. I think hitting the unbreakable stuff makes a lot of sense. But especially, we haven't seen nerfs to or changes rather to the other strong characters. Like Arya's on the screen, and you guys know who else is coming later down the line. So I'm very curious to see the other changes.
Yeah. Cool. I lost your feed on my Discord side. Let me just fix my side real quick. Okay, cool. All right, back to it. Sorry about that, folks. All right, for Cinder, I just have one small change for fixing some of his frame data on counter hits with his punch buttons. They were a little messy, so those do the proper amount on counter hit now as well. And let's talk about Arya. We reduced the damage on all of Arya's enders by 1 to 2 points per hit. It's not a huge dramatic change, but she's widely regarded as the hardest character to break, so we felt this was fair. This change does not affect her shadow enders or body swap enders. So we'll just take a look. 26% for a level 3 there. Let's do a level 4.
Still choppy as shit.
Launch her ender. 36%.
Oh my god.
So it definitely takes her damage down a tiny bit. We can do the shotgun knee ender as well. Check that out.
He looks good when she does combos.
Yeah. All right. We reduced the pushback when blocking crescendo to add risk and to make the frame data matter more. So in particular, the light version of this is -7 on block, and we haven't changed that, but she would bounce so far out of range that pretty much nobody could punish that. And now she stays a lot tighter to you after this move.
Mm-hmm.
A lot riskier. And I believe this applies to a lot of the air versions of the move as well. She does not bounce back as far. So these moves are just quite a bit more risky. Yeah.
Nice.
It's a good change.
Yeah, a lot of the moves got stuff like this, right? So
yeah. Another one like that, her jumping medium kick also got adjusted. We reduced the distance she pushes herself away from you, but we increased the vertical distance. So she bounces up a lot higher after doing this move. And that's going to leave her in a precarious position if she's not smart about how she uses this or waits till she gets a little bit lower in order to make sure there's enough stun to cover her. So a lot easier move to deal with now as well. We made some adjustments to the drone assist calls. The drone assist calls now leave the drones punishable for 30 frames longer than before. So let's check that out real quick. We got the blade drone. Let's do the base one first. So that's out there for quite a bit longer, you can tell. Quite a bit of time to smack it. And wow. The blade drone, lots of time to smack that as well. Big change. And then a really big one is the booster drone, actually. This one goes behind you in a lot of cases. So you would block this one, and it would end up behind you, like that, and then it would fully recover, and then fly home. And while it was flying home, it was invincible. So what we did about this one was we made it so that when it's flying home, it's not invincible, and you can actually tag it on the way home.
Gotcha.
Huge change.
Yeah, these are big. I mean, I'm guessing it slows down how fast you can call the assists, right? Because there's extra recovery on them.
Right, it's 30 frames longer before they get home before she can call them again. So
right,
big change for her. She's gonna have to work quite a bit harder to cover the drones. But as a small burf, which is a buff and a nerf at the same time, we made her sword drone launch you quite a bit higher, and that's because after we made the change, before we made this launch higher, it was punishable on hit. The sword would launch you, you would fall, get up, and then punch the sword before it recovered, which just felt really bad for the Arya player. But because of this, it actually opened up some nice new juggle combos for her that I'm looking forward to seeing players explore. I don't have any good ones, but you get the idea, right? You can get some cool new stuff going off of that, which is nice.
Cool.
So yeah, Arya's gonna have to work harder to cover her assist calls and to use the assist calls to cover herself. Her looping pressure will loop a little more slowly, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, makes sense.
All right, next up, her medium and heavy shotgun blitz moves. That's these guys. They used to low crush on frame 1. Now the medium one low crush is on 5 and the heavy on frame 4. So the light one was always 6. So now they go 6, 5, 4. It just seemed way too powerful to have such a difficult to punish move work as a low crush so quickly, and this adjustment's going to weaken Arya's defense against lows considerably. Next up, another adjustment for the shotgun blitz special moves. We added more hit stop on block to the first hit of these. So they used to be 10 across the board. Now it's 14, 16, 18 on light, medium, heavy. Despite being 2 hits, this move has been notoriously hard to shadow counter compared to other similar moves. So now it's a bit easier on the light version and gets even easier if she uses heavy ones. So
this is going to take a year and a half, huh, guys?
Medium and heavy.
To go through all the characters. I think they're only on
quite easy to shadow counter
a fourth of the characters
now, compared to before, which was very, very
so
yeah.
I feel like I'm in class on a really boring subject.
Recovery. She's still going to use
so I'm going to end it here.
Jump in and close some distance behind an assist or whatever.
I'll get it when it comes out.
I don't think you're going to get, free shotgun.
All right, I'm going to take a break, guys. I'll be back later tonight and play some Mortal Kombat. You guys have a great rest of your day and a happy Thanksgiving if I don't see you. Peace.
Yeah, exactly.
Much more manageable, yeah.
So Arya is meant to be a powerful character. She carries some of the highest risk in the entire game.